Hey Hoopheads, Brad here with another breakdown, and today I want to talk about the Lakers defense in their 116-98 blowout win over the Heat in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. After getting down by 13 early, the Lakers rode their defense and some great shooting to build a 32-point lead by the midpoint of the third, effectively ending the game early. Let's get into it. On this play, you see Danny Green navigate the early screen to prevent a quick shot from Duncan Robinson, and then as Bam gets the ball at the top, Robinson's going to set up to run off the double screen and see Dwight step up to prevent an attempt there. Robinson drops it off to Bam, who's met by KCP and elects to shoot the jumper instead of powering through him. And now on this one, you see Green step over the Bam screen and then scramble back to block Dragic's mid-ranger from behind. Green had 3 blocks and 2 steals in this game, and here as Bam gets it, he knows the Lakers are loading up to Robinson, so he fakes the handoff and dives to the basket himself, but a nice recovery by Dwight to get a hand in there and get the strip. But in the first 6 minutes especially, Dwight struggled as the Heat attacked him relentlessly and pick and roll, with the ball handler getting a step on him and forcing help from the corner, leading to some open threes. And when the help didn't come, then the Heat were able to either get to the rim themselves or drop it off for an easy bucket, and things looked rough in the early going as the Heat rode that advantage to a 13-point lead around the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. But the Lakers were able to lock in on D, and on this play, as Robinson runs off a couple screens for the handoff, watch Danny Green and Rondo both converge on him. Meanwhile, KCP will rotate onto Iguodala to cut off his dive to the rim, forcing an awkward pass to Butler, who bobbles it. He can't hit the bunny before AD scoops it up. Nice work by Rondo, Green, and KCP there. And then a somewhat similar thing here as Rondo and KCP both step out to Robinson. He drops it off to Iguodala, and then Crowder spacing out to the corner this time. That gets him an open shot, which he knocks down. A nice counter by the Heat to the way the Lakers are running out at Robinson. And now Kuzma is a little late switching out onto Hero, so he has to run out at him. That lets Hero get a step by him, and Davis's length able to bother the layup attempt. And the length of Anthony Davis, coupled with his mobility, is such a huge asset. It can be a real problem for guards trying to get to the rim or when he gets switched out onto them, and the Heat seem to struggle a lot more with this compared to, for example, when they played against Daniel Tice in the Celtics last series. On this play, as Butler attacks, KCP applying a little bit of pressure almost pokes it away, and then Rondo with the active hands to deflect the pass out of bounds. And then on the ensuing inbound, a simple play as Robinson fakes setting a screen and then sprints up for the handoff, but KCP does a great job of pressuring the shot without fouling, getting up in his space. Robinson misses one of his just 3 attempts. Good work by KCP. And then the Heat pushing it. Hero's ready to attack, but Anthony Davis slides down to cut him off. And then you see Rondo helping on Bam until AD can get back into position. And then as Robinson comes up, AD goes with him, but Bam fakes the handoff and tosses it to Iguodala. And with AD lurking at the rim, Iguodala winds up settling for a tough floater, and even though the Heat corral the offensive board, they're not able to take advantage of the second chance opportunity. And now as Derrick Jones Jr. comes up to set the screen, the Lakers switch it, and watch the way Davis tries to get a hand in the passing lane while Caruso works hard to get his hand in there and poke it loose from behind, ultimately coming up with the steal. Nice pressure from Anthony Davis and Caruso in the pick and roll game. And now here you see Kuzma switching on to Tyler Hero, and then as Hero slips the screen, Caruso and Kuzma both go with Dragic, so LeBron has to run out at Hero as Kuzma scrambles to recover, and meanwhile on the back line of the defense, Anthony Davis rotates over to not only force the pass but also get the strip on Derrick Jones Jr. Great work by AD, covering up for mistakes earlier in the play, hugely valuable, and that's why he was first team all defense. And now this is just good work by Kuzma, moving his feet, staying in front of Butler, good positioning, gets his hands up nice and vertical to avoid the foul. On this play, as Bam screens, you see Morris dropping back, trying to cut off Dragic without letting Bam get behind him as Rondo recovers. And then as the ball comes out to Hero, Solomon Hill screens and Kuzma switches on to Hero, staying with him as he attacks the basket and then gliding out to Butler in the corner. He ends up burying this shot, but a pretty decent effort on that one. And then as the Heat work it to Bam, you see LeBron switch with Green off ball so that he's closer to the basket. And now as Butler gets the handoff, look at Green sagging off of Solomon Hill. He's not a huge shooting threat, and with Green's active hands, he's able to disrupt Butler's pass and ultimately get the steal. And then this is just great individual effort by Alex Caruso. First, as he dodges the pick to stay with Hero on the perimeter, and then as Hero gives it up, he's going to shortly come up for the handoff, and watch Caruso chase him up over the screen and then sprint back to get into position to give a tremendous shot contest. Hero bricks it, and the Lakers come up with the board. Fantastic hustle by Caruso. And now as Bam gets the ball and Dragic comes over for the handoff, you see Markieff Morris help way off of Jay Crowder. Anthony Davis able to force Dragic into a pass, and as Bam gathers it, you see Morris now all the way in the restricted area. Bam tries to force it up, unable to get it to go. Solid help defense once again, packing the paint and shutting off the rim. And speaking of packing the paint, as Butler gets the ball looking to attack, see how many guys the Lakers have in the lane. The Heat without a ton of shooting on the floor, and that means the Lakers can really focus on taking away easy baskets at the rim. And on this one, as the Heat work it at the top, you can see they're trying to force Kuzma into a mistake, forcing him into multiple screening actions and switches, but he's giving everybody a bit of a buffer, so even though his positioning isn't perfect, he avoids getting blown by, and the Heat spend so much time trying to exploit this matchup that they have to jack up a shot at the end of the shot clock. And now off the turnover, LeBron and KCP hustling back, and because Butler and Crowder are so close together, LeBron is able to handle both and shut that down. Then great hands by KCP to break up the pass. LeBron gets in there, gets a strip, and eventually we wind up with a jump ball as both LeBron and KCP get to the floor. Championship hustle to get back and shut down the fast break. And then off the jump ball, watch KCP diving on the floor again to try to recover it, and then he immediately springs back up and snatches the ball as Iguodala and Hero botch the shuffle pass. Fantastic work by KCP. And then on this one, you see Duncan Robinson come up and then cut to the basket, losing KCP, but AD is sagging way off Iguodala to cut off the path to the basket. It leads to an open Iguodala 3, but the Lakers decided they're fine with giving that up if it means taking away shots at the rim. And then in the second half, as Crowder comes up for the handoff, watch AD take a conservative line here, making sure he cuts off the path to the basket, giving up the pull-up 3 if Crowder wants it. Again, that's a business decision, letting Crowder shoot a 3 off the dribble. And on this one, as Adebayo gets the ball, Dwight makes himself nice and big, hands active, trying to shut down passing lanes, and then as Robinson cuts to the corner, Dwight steps out to prevent him getting the three-point attempt off. LeBron winds up taking a foul on Bam, but nice initial D by Dwight there. On this play, as Hero comes off the Bam screen, Dwight has to step over to contain him, so AD rotates over to cut off Bam's dive to the basket. The pass goes to his man in the corner, but a nice recovery by AD to give a reasonable shot contest. Crowder misses, but as Bam hauls in the board, LeBron fouls him, and on the ensuing inbound, Green and Dwight using their length to bother Hero and get the block. A bit more size again than the Heat faced last round against the Celtics. And on this play, as Butler gets the ball and comes off the screen, you see AD sagging off of Crowder, again trying to shut off driving lanes, even if it means giving up a semi-contested three-pointer. And a similar thing on this play, as you see AD matched up with Iguodala, but he completely leaves him to shut off a drive to the basket. And then as LeBron rotates out onto Iguodala, who gives it up, you see him sagging off once again, not worried about the three-pointer. So as Bam dives to the basket, LeBron is there to cut him off, and Bam has to settle for the little jumper, not able to sink it. And really, the Heat just could not buy a bucket for a long while. From the 6-minute mark of the first quarter to the 6-minute mark of the third, essentially one half of basketball, the Lakers went from down 13 to up 32, a 45-point swing. And that would pretty much do it for this one. The Heat went on a little run in the fourth as the Lakers took their foot off the gas, but really a resounding win all the way around, helped out by some great defense from the Lakers. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button and let me know what you thought of the Lakers defense in the comments.